there, ultimate women. Jackie here. I wanted to make a really short video because I was I was talking to my clients in my inner circle membership program, and we were talking about fears, the fears that are coming up, and I thought I would jump over here and make a video for you on what are your biggest fears. When I was single and dating, one of my biggest fears, and still can come up for me, and that's why it's so great to have this conversation, to really understand the fears that your mind has, and to be able to recognize them when they insert themselves, because they will. It's like you feel like, well, I've handled this trigger and I'm not going to get triggered again. But then triggers are very subtle and they're very sneaky, and then they show up again. But it's really just another form of the fear that you were initially fearful of. So one of the big fears that I see happen with a lot of women is fear of, and then fill in the blanks, fear of being seen. So sometimes when we have this feeling of unworthiness or feeling not good enough, that can show up in a form of not wanting to be seen. So we'll put ourselves out there like 80% of the time, but 20% of the time we pull back. So like, look at the percentage of time when you're 100% committed, but there's a part of you that's holding back from connecting, from doing things you know you need to do, because underneath it all, there's that fear of being seen, not being good enough. A big one also is loss of freedom. There's a belief that if I get what I want, I won't have the freedom that I have now. The truth is that's not a true belief, because you have actually more freedom, because the big chunk of time that you're spending dating, attracting, and going through all of those motions, or even going for other things in life, are being consumed by the desire that you have. The desire is going to continue to consume you until you get what you want, and then another desire will take its place. So when we're looking at fears, we have this big burning desire, but then 20% of us is holding back. So that acts as resistance. That holding back is actually creating a block. It's creating that resistance. And resistance shows up, and what it causes, it runs interference into your manifesting equation. When you are experiencing, like, I don't really feel like doing this tonight, probably won't meet anybody, all of those doubts, and you don't do things, that's the resistance. So what's driving that resistance? It typically can be found in that fear-based thinking. So we can't get rid of fear, right? We're always going to be feeling a certain amount of threat and safety where you are now, and then you step out of that zone because you'd like to have more, be more, do more, hold more, and then you're going to experience the predictable. Fear is very predictable. You're going to experience the predictable amount of fear. But once you walk through and partner with it, knowing that you're going to experience it, you can pass through it and get to the other side and do it anyway. And so I just recently had this epiphany about some fears that I had that were holding me back. And what I decided to do was not just get more than getting curious and partnering with it, but really looking at where it was originating from, which is a belief, and then understanding that maybe a part of that belief was true at some time in my life. So getting really clear where that belief came from, what it represents. So there's a part of all of us, the human nature part, that has fears, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough, etc., these type of things. So we have to understand that, and get into a relationship with the fears that you're experiencing. So on underneath this video, if you can put your biggest fears, like in relation to dating, could be in relationship, could be in your career. What are your biggest fears? Mine is, believe it or not, fear of being seen. And because it's caused me to hold back in areas. But what's underneath the fear of being seen? Underneath it is not good enough. So really it's camouflage as being seen, because here I am being seen. I'm making a video. I don't know if anybody's even watching. It doesn't matter. because I want to have this conversation with you, and hopefully you'll watch the replay. And by the way, if you do, make sure you put hashtag replay, and I'll see who watched the replay and see what comments you made. But when I went deeper, not good enough. So where did that come from? So it's really doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to completely eradicate the I'm not good enough belief, because I think on the core as humans, we have to wrestle with these fears because our mind's designed to protect us. So it's always going to be trying to get in there and insert itself. What we can do is have a relationship with it, understand it, recognize it when it comes in and it comes into our body. Do we clench our stomach? Do our shoulders get tight? You need to see where you feel the fear. And that can be anchored to a time in your life where something really was going on that would create a bunch of fear. But a lot of it is that false alarm. It's smoke, but there's no fire. And so we have to really get clear and get curious about the fear and then do it anyway. So just be more conscious to when you feel fear. Go, okay, what am I feeling? Fear, what am I afraid of? Asking yourself those questions. And then is this a real fear? Is there a fire? No. Okay, so I can do it anyway. And then holding that fear, and then like going out on a date that you're afraid of for whatever reason, getting online, talking to your husband, to your partner about something that's uncomfortable. You're afraid that you're going to rock the boat. So just knowing where the fear is originating is going to give you a lot more power over it. It's the unknown, because when we feel fear, we want to back up. We're like, oh, it doesn't feel good. So you push away from it instead of leaning into it and getting curious, like, what am I afraid of? What is this anchored to? So I want to leave you with that. Just wanted to make a short video for you to start thinking about getting more curious about the fear, creating a relationship with it, and then asking yourself, is this a real fear? Is this a reality? Or is just this something that my mind's making up now to keep me safe, to keep me stuck, and to keep me from feeling awkward, uncomfortable, less than, not good enough? All of those fears come up to keep us from experiencing some type of pain, right? It doesn't want you to experience pain, your mind does, but the human mind, the way it's wired is we are already in pain. Life creates certain painful experiences. But the truth is, with painful experiences, there's also growth. If you look at any really big experience that you've gone through, it's probably accompanied with, in hindsight, some exponential growth for yourself. So I'm not saying pain feels good, but pain is a part of life, and to shield yourself from feeling any more pain is also shielding yourself from letting love and experiencing life the way you want, on your terms and the way you want to experience it. So it's the other side of the coin, and we need to not only have this awareness, because I think awareness can be a game changer, but also put it in practice. Start practicing this. And so I hope this helps you, give you a little, hi Debbie. Yes. Yeah, that can be challenging. So what you have to do is trust yourself, right? Trust you, that you'll be okay, that you'll be okay. Trust your intuition. So when I look at trust with men, I don't have to worry about trusting them as much as trusting myself. When in my first marriage, my husband was cheating. I knew, I had a feeling down deep, but I did not want to acknowledge it because I didn't want to have to take action because I was in too much fear. So it didn't totally surprise me. So sometimes we know things, and it's that we don't do anything because we want to protect ourselves from feeling that kind of pain. But if you look back in your history, you have already walked through so much. All of you have. And you can, and you will be okay. And you can detect more than you're probably giving yourself credit for, because wisdom comes from these painful experiences, right? So thank you for posting that. That is a really great feedback. Yes, the surprise down the road. So being honest with yourself and being connected to yourself and feeling whatever is coming up for you will be your fastest way to avoid any surprises, because your intuition really does know first. Ah, so your intuition tells you first that sometimes we aren't connected enough to our body or to our source. You're always connected, but if you're not paying attention to that quiet voice, you might miss it. And then the fears cause us to avoid it. I've had cases where they tell me I can't act like this anymore. So who can't act like that anymore? The men, or you can't act like this anymore? I'm not sure who I is. I can't act like this anymore. So I would love to hear a little bit more about that. And so I'm going to follow up with you on your thread, but I just want to thank you for watching the video, ladies. Please post your comments in the comment section. I'd love to expand the conversation for all of you to connect and get to know each other and and shine the light on any fears that are holding you back, because the fears that from the past will definitely come up again in your present, and they will change their shape. They will look different, but it's really typically sourcing from an original wound or an original fear, which could be the men that you can't trust men, which could be related to a betrayal that you experienced you never really healed from, or you don't trust yourself. They say they were putting up an act if what they thought I wanted them to be. Interesting. So that's on them, right? And so that might be a little reflection on, they say they were putting up an act. So not to take this on yourself and not to blame yourself, but the only person that we can control is ourselves. And so I always want to look at myself and do my own self-inquiry and self-knowledge. And they say they were putting up an act if what they thought I wanted them to be like. And so I would look at, for me, I would look at what is the expectation. So I'm going to actually think about this a little bit before I say anything more, because I know I have an intuitive hit, but I don't have it yet. So I'm gonna spend some time thinking about what you said, Debbie. Thank you for posting. That's really fascinating to me. I want to help you kind of peel back a layer on this, and we can have a breakthrough and an aha. So I'm going to circle back to that. So ladies, post in the comment section the hashtag replay and any fears that are coming up for you, so we can have a dialogue and we can all start to support each other. Okay, thank you, Debbie, for being here. Talk to you all soon. Bye.